ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the CD Racoola Show. Today, we're barreling underneath the desert sands and chomping this episode to pieces, because today we're taking a look at the 1990 movie Tremors. So, before we set the ground quaking, if you guys could come out of your subterranean wormhole and click that subscribe button, I'd be the happiest little vampire alive. Unalive. Undead. You get the point. First off, I thought this film was a ton of fun, and apparently lots of other people did as well, because it spawned a whole bunch of sequels. In fact, it spawned 6 sequels, with most of them being direct-to-video movies. In 2003, they even created a television show that aired for 1 season on the Sci-Fi Channel. The creatures that made this franchise so obviously successful were known only as the graboids. Because of the snake-like tongues, I guess you could call them, in their mouth that pulled their prey towards them into their ever-gaping beak-like jaws. This really is a pretty fresh concept, with not many people daring to take on the sandworm as a monster. Of course, Dune has its sandworms, and yes, those sandworms are huge and kind of scary, really scary actually, and they live in the desert, but I like the look of the graboids in this film. I don't know if you guys have ever read the book Earthworm Gods, but that's another horror media outlet that dares to tackle worms as scary monsters. I chatted about this book in an earlier episode of the show, but I'm going to go ahead and put Earthworm Gods on CD's Goodreads list. Again, if you ever have time to read it, I definitely recommend. It's a short book, but it's good worm horror if that's what you're looking for. In this film, the worms also had some semblance of intelligence. They just weren't mindless killing machines like someone you know. And the creatures in Tremors play a deadly game of cat and mouse throughout the film, trying to find their prey, you know. This film kind of reminded me of a worm version of Jaws. Think about it. You try to stay off the sand where the graboids could sense you and pull you under or into their jaws, while in Jaws you tend to stay out of the water so the shark doesn't pull you in. Also, I felt like in Jaws the shark had a couple tricks up its sleeve as well. Another thing that I found interesting about the graboids in this film was that no one really knew where they came from. They even have a discussion during the film, trying to figure out if the species is native to Earth, a mutation of some kind due to radiation or something, or is it an extraterrestrial? They purposely left it up to us in the audience to try to figure it out on our own. The fact of the matter is, we really don't know, but in Tremors 2, they do give us a clue, but I won't spoil that for you guys here. I want you guys out there in YouTube land to watch these films, you know. In this first film, one of the biggest and most important parts of the movie, besides the graboids, of course, was its killer cast. What a big-time cast this film had. Of course you had Kevin Bacon, that sizzling little piece of bacon, as the star, alongside Fred Ward, who was also in Tremors 2, Finn Carter, also starring in this film as the scientist studying the strange earthquakes that have been happening in the region. Victor Wong gets eaten by a graboid in this film. I will always remember Victor for his work in the film Big Trouble in Little China. That's a great movie, by the way, Big Trouble in Little China. You had Michael Gross, who is perhaps most famous for his part in the Tremors franchise, as Burt Gummer, whom lives off the grid and has just way too many guns. I love that character, Burt Gummer. He is, to the Tremors franchise, what Ash Williams is to the Evil Dead franchise. He's just a, shoot first, ask questions later kind of character that brings, tons of personality to the silver screen. Last but not least, in this film, you had none other than the one and only Reba McEntire, the country singer. She plays Burt Gummer's wife, Heather Gummer. I think that was the only time Reba ever dipped her toe into whore, even if it was a semi-comedic role. I'm not going to rush to call her a scream queen anytime soon, though. But I do love Reba for some reason. That may surprise you guys out there in YouTube land that me, CD Racoola, a 600-year-old vampire, could enjoy himself some good old-fashioned Reba McEntire tunes. So yes, the cast was absolutely fantastic in this film, and pair that with a great fresh movie monster, and you have a classic horror movie that is tons of fun. Now, was it scary? To me, not really. Not that scary. I'm going to give it some pretty low marks on the old scarometer. But I still harbor lots of love for this film. And if you have an afternoon, or you're like me and you have a couple lifetimes to kill, go ahead and go on a Tremors movie marathon. Trust me, you won't regret it. I would like to thank you for joining me here on the CD Racoola Show, and if you could hit that subscribe button, I wouldn't throw you off the roof into the waiting jaws of a graboid. Please join me next episode of the show when I take a look at the film The Woman in the Yard. Oh, could be good. We'll have to wait and see here. So, till next time, my little bloodbags out there in YouTube land, if you ever find yourself in a firefight with a host of man-eating sandworms, just remember what Burt Gummer says in this Tremors film. Don't fire until you see the whites of their heat-seeking organs. Ta-ta, my dears. Ta-ta.